So the U.S. and the U.K. launching more strikes against the Houthis, hitting dozens of targets in Yemen. This is primarily a U.S.-led attack, however. This after the drone strike that killed 3 of our soldiers last week in Jordan. The Iranian-backed group remains defiant, vowing to hit back even harder. The Biden White House walking a tightrope, as we see here on CNN Sunday.
The president has approached this with a straightforward principle, which is that the United States will step up and respond when our forces are attacked, and the United States also is not looking for a wider war in the Middle East.
All right, Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg with us. General, good morning to you. Just in a general sense, so to speak, have these been effective, or can you tell?
Yeah, Bill, thanks for having me. No, these are punitive strikes. They're not deterrent strikes, and there's a huge difference as the scope and style of these targets that they're hitting. I mean, it looks good on television. There's a lot of things blowing up, but it's not preventing the Iranians or any of the proxies from continuing to prosecute the attack. And there's a huge difference between those two. So a punitive strike is when you kind of go in and makes you feel good, you blow up stuff. A deterrent strike is when you go to an adversary and you put something that he values highly at risk. And until you do that and you raise your level of risk, you're not going to get into deterrence. So they've kind of dumbed deterrence down. You want to get to a point where you say to them, stop. You're not going to continue to do this. And the only way you do that is put something at risk in Iran. And I can give you multiple targets that you can do this with. You don't have to go downtown into Tehran. You can go to the Karg oil facility. You can look at the Bashad. That's that spy ship they've got in the Red Sea. You look at Fordo nuclear enrichment facility. There's a lot of things you can do. I understand, Bill, that when you do that, you raise a level of risk and a concern about widening the war. They're not. What they're doing right now is they're actually widening the war. They just don't understand it.
Wow.
You know,
sorry, General, let me just
Winston
stop you
Churchill
for a
said,
I apologize.
Yeah.
We'll get to Churchill a second here. I don't want to cut you off entirely here. You
Yeah.
don't see this group, right, in the White House bombing Iran, do you? I mean, the question keeps coming up.
No.
I don't even see it on the table. Do you?
No, Bill, they're not. They're not going to go there at all, and I know they're not. I mean, it's. I remind my 2 granddaughters when they want me to pay attention, they'll grab my cheeks real hard and say, "Listen to me." You know, you want to yell at them, "Listen to me. This isn't going to go anywhere." Look, going back historically, Winston Churchill called World War II the unnecessary war, and the reason Churchill, the great Prime Minister of England during World War II, called it that is because he said if we had taken actions, we the West, against Germany early, they wouldn't have had to fight World War II. And that's where we're marching to. We're marching to a level of increased warfare, larger warfare, and we haven't gotten ourselves out of that box, and we need to, or this thing's going to go really bad on us in the future.
Okay, Afghanistan, I mean, one of the poorest countries in the world, right? I mean, we're at war there for 20 years. This is what the Houthi spokesperson said. And Yemen, also listed as one of the poorest countries in the Arab world. Our war is moral, and if we had not intervened to support the oppressed in Gaza, humanity would not have existed among humans. The American-British aggression against Yemen will not go unanswered, and we will make escalation with escalation. The Saudis fought a war with the Houthis for 10 years. Can we beat them?
Sure they did. Well, I'll tell you, one strike. You go after the leader of the Houthis. Al-Houthi leads them. He's the spiritual leader. He's the military leader. He does it all. You eliminate the leadership at the top, then they all kind of back away from it. The Saudis never did that. We gave the Saudis support, but they were doing the same thing we're doing right now in Syria and Iraq and Yemen. We're blowing up a lot of things, but we're not striking at the real heart and something that they hold at risk. You know, in striking and targeting, we talk about counter-force and counter-value targeting. So that's what we talk about when holding things at risk, either people or facilities. We're not doing either, and this is going to just continue, and I don't see an end to it. And You're right, this administration doesn't have the wherewithal and the intestinal fortitude to basically go downtown and make it end.
I'm not advocating you do that. However, does it surprise you or bother you at all that the commander-in-chief has not addressed the American people on this?
Oh, this is huge that he hasn't done it. I mean, we all know better. He should have been out there right away, not only when you lose the Americans, but the counter strikes that you're conducting. The fact that he hasn't gone in front of the American people and explained it to them is really wrong. But look, this is a pattern, Bill. This is the pattern he has set previously. So it's in his DNA. This is what he does. And I've kind of accepted it because I said, well, he's just running true to form. Other presidents have done things much, much differently. I don't care if it was Reagan. I don't care if it was Obama. I don't care if it was Trump. They just handled it totally differently than this president.
General, thank you for your time. We'll talk later this week, okay? Keith Kellogg, thanks.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.